What is the Itch-Itch's true history?
Oh, okay. True history of the Itch-Itch.
This was gonna come.
Okay.
It is something
The
that
only
you have,
thing he doesn't already
So-
know is this absolute geezer.
because like you have given teasers a long time
Okay.
ago.
Okay. So the Itch-Itch were so as far as the setting for Dystopia Rising goes, the world that the Itch-Itch inhabit, this area in the Sequoia Wastes, they were here prior to the Fortune opening its doors. Now, while the Fortune was in lockdown during the apocalypse, before purebloods stepped out of it, and actually like came out and became a part of the community, the Itch-Itch had already, been kicked out as mutants and had started forming some sort of semblance of family and organization. However, the things asserted by the first family are correct from their perspective. They are not completely accurate. The Sequoia Waste is called the Sequoia Waste for a reason. It's not because of a tree. This place, belonged to a people that predated the end of the world. This is their second apocalypse. And the purebloods, and honestly a lot of other people that have been active here have a shared lineage. Ultimately, if you're from here, if you're made of this sort of grave mind stuff, and you've been here, there's a greater legacy. There's something that predates the fall. However, as far as what the Itch-Itch, one of their original complaints was, we were here first. And as far as they're concerned, absolutely. As long as this place has been a desert, the Itch-Itch have been here. But before this place was a desert, other people were here. And so their assertions as far as the land that they've claimed as theirs is correct from their perspective. And it just depends on what level of history an individual is invoking. Because for the Itch-Itch, they operate on their time scale. For most of the RECC, they don't care about anything that happened before. And for the most part, most of them don't even know. But so there is some truth to that. Like, the Itch-Itch were here before. But not the most before, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So I guess the big thing that would, in knowing some of their history, their name means.
Oh, their name?
Yes.
Okay. So the Itch-Itch are the Itch-Itch, because the first place they found shelter was a Ditch Witch dealership. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a line of excavators that are made just here in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And that's where the orange smile comes from. That's where a bunch of their heraldry and their names. Like Fox wasn't named after an animal; he was named after a product line. So very early on in the Itch when they were close to their home, things were consistent in that regard. But names have drifted; they've adopted other cultures. Things have changed.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Rose,
Well, yeah,
are you next?
that's the Itch.
Rose, are you next?
Is Velvet whole and can he be killed?
Yes.
Oh, we told you not to ask yes or no questions. God.
It's still
Okay.
a very, very good question
That
from the
does
fact
help,
information.
At least there's that reassurance.
Well, at least we have that.
So he can be killed and he is whole.
Yes, it's player questions, but you know in character. It's what you the player want to know, but your character happens
Who's
to know
next?
Are the rest sea
Jolene.
creature
We're all
related?
Jolene.
The probably
I'm
the
not
rest is
Jolene.
probably Jolene.
Okay. What do you got?
So we know that pre-skills and scion skills are both given to you by the Great Mind. To a point. Kind of.
Not. So your question, pre-skills and science skills are given by the Grave Mind. It's
Not my question.
okay. What's your question?
why are priests of just random cults still given power?
What?
Okay.
Because why could a priest of the cult of Valenquaws walk up to you and call the Almighty you in 2.0, or like Master Faithful Miracle you? Why do cults have power when they're just a smash up of like 20 to 30 people sometimes? Versus the giant base of like Darwin's, Nuke Fam,
Wouldn't that be-
Foul Hope.
So there's two levels of answer to that question. The meta answer, the out of character answer, is that once players or writers have put a certain amount of effort into generating a story, if you're a cult of blah, and it fits with the setting and it doesn't it adds more than it takes away from the setting, then I'm usually cool with going okay. But with the existing faiths, they cover a lot of ground. So if very often when people are like, "Oh, I want to do this thing," I'm like, "Okay, that fits really well into this existing subsect." If they're like, "Hey, I want to do this," I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's unique. I haven't quite heard of that before. Let's give it a go." So that's the out of character stuff. The in character answer is, basically all of the people that have unlocked that part of themselves, their connection with the world, that allows you to use faith abilities, to use psionic skills. It's a question of you actually believing it yourself. The crisis of faith, that's something that had a mechanic for it, but it's totally something that is all about you and your story. So sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. And for custom like cults, which is something that is not really a thing at the moment in this version of the rules, there are ways that you could accomplish it. And now with faith powers and psionic powers, like the connections being a lot more obvious, a lot less subtle. The character's faith is what the character kind of makes of it. And but it's honestly really unlikely that you're ever going to see someone that's like the only member of their faith, because part of the internal justification for someone having faith powers is, you know, having a flock to share those displays with. You know, because, you know, displays of faith are, you know, like when you patch somebody up, or, you know, you whatever. It's a external manifestation of, you know, a truth that your character holds internally. So, you know, possible, because it's totally a thing. Does that answer your question?
What?
All right, cool. All right.
Give us an